My name's Tim Ward. Have some unique things about me today. I'm absolutely the oldest person that you're going to hear speak today. I probably have the least amount of hair. I am no longer a part of this district. I'm not a student. I'm not a staff member. I have been recently retired. But I have some unique perspectives and some things that I gained over time, and I'd love to share them with you today. I think I'm in control of this. I want to talk with you a little bit about what it means to be the best. The best is a phrase that gets used every single day. Within the world of the media, without conversations with folks, people are always talking about what it means to be the best. And I want to really look at what that means and talk with you a little bit about what it means to be the best. But to be able to do that, I think you should kind of get an idea about who is this guy that's up on stage here with you right now. So, first of all, school teacher, taught for 35 years. I spent 33 years in the Chaffey District. I had the opportunity to start way back and work at Ontario High School long before your principal, Mr. Kirk, was a student at Ontario High School. I had the opportunity in this district to open a brand new school and have all those challenges of things when you create a new school. I got the chance to go to and work at the oldest school in the district, which was fabulous and a wonderful facility, but it has all its own kind of problems. And in each of those experiences, I had the joyful opportunity of every single day going to work and doing something that I loved. I loved the impact that I got to have with students, with staff, the conversations, the relationships that took place. It was I counted myself always as the luckiest person in the world because I loved coming to work every single day. It was just a joy. It was a great thing to do. I retired after 33 years. Eventually, I ended up after I was a teacher and a coach and an athletic director, a club advisor. I was an assistant principal. I became a principal. And the last job I had in this district I was the Assistant Superintendent of Instruction. Now, that's a huge sounding title, and it was a really big job. I got to be the person that worked directly on making sure that everything that happened in your classroom came off great. All the technology that's in our rooms, all the different instructional materials and the trainings for the teachers and the band instruments, our earlier speakers talking about the arts. We didn't cut arts in our district. We grew the arts program in our district. We continued to provide opportunities for all these students. And I was lucky enough to be a person involved directly in the decisions of all that. It made coming to work fun every single day. And I started to see that each day you could really have an impact and make a difference if it would. And I was really thrilled with that opportunity, and I really began to think more and more about it. So from that point, in doing this, I retired in December. And just so you know, my person that followed me as the assistant superintendent is sitting right down here, Mr. Cronin, and he's here to share these experiences with you. And when I retired, I decided to really focus a little bit on learning more about what this world is. I'm also lucky to have 4 amazing kids. I'm old, so all my kids are pretty well grown. I have a daughter who runs in her entire own company, her own corporation. She now has, after opening about 30 offices in the United States, she has an office in London. So I went and spent 5 weeks with her, and her apartment, her flat, is right on the Thames River. You look right there is Parliament, straight across the river from her. And I got a chance to spend time in that world and really not like you're on a vacation where you're doing something all the time, but really get to know people and have real conversations. While I was there, we journeyed, and I got to get to 4 different countries, into the Czech Republic. I was able to go into Austria. We went to Scotland. In each of those areas, when I got there, I spoke to the people and talked to them about what do they hope, what are their dreams, what do they want to do. And it was really impactful upon me, and I was able to really understand and learn much more about where they're at. I came back to this country. I have my second oldest daughter, lives in Miami, Florida. She's a fashion designer, works for a huge company. And in Miami, I was able to spend time and just really learn the culture and that community that's there. Miami is a very unique culture of the people that are gathered there, and the language and the things that are spoken there are very different than Southern California. The last week that I spent, I was driving up and down the East Coast with a good friend of mine, and I was able to get into 9 states in the last week. I just got back 2 days ago. So my first 12 weeks of retirement, I've been out of Southern California for 8 weeks of that. And in that time when I've been out there, I've had a chance to really see the world and see it very differently, to talk to the people. Let me tell you one thing that I learned right away is everybody speaks English. The world thinking that, well, I've got an advantage because I really understand this more than someone else. It's not necessarily there. Everyone, every country I went to and every shop and store and place I went, everybody can communicate. The language of the internet has really pressed those things forward. And talking to students in schools and colleges, the uni as they call it in Europe, I would tell you that everybody's trying to acquire a skill. And I would say that the skills that you're learning, the education that you're getting here at Los Osos, it's second to none. But it's not what's going to separate you from everybody else. What's going to change who you are is the person on the inside of who you are. It's how you see the world and how you have an impact in your world every single day. Now, I'm talking to you that are sitting out here now, the students, the staff, the people that are gathered here. Today, you have an opportunity to do something different than anybody else in the world can do. You have an impact in the people's lives that you're going to come in touch with, where you can come away from every single relationship, every single conversation, and have something that makes it different and unique. Not just a skill set or a knowledge that you have, but something about you that you can share with them, that you can encourage them, that you can make a difference and you can impact them. Point it this way. So let's get back to this topic I said. What does it mean to be the best in the world? People use the phrase, everybody wants to claim that they're the best in the world. We've got stars across the world. If you're in Europe, football is a total different world than what we even see as football here. And for those people that know the world of football in Europe, the two guys I have pictured over on your left here is very big, and the debate ranges everywhere about which one of those is the best in the world. We have stars, we have computer whizzes. Everybody claims to be the best, the greatest ever. But my question is, when they say they're the best, are they having a positive impact always on the world around them? What is the impact that they have? What kind of difference are they making in that world themselves? Sometimes it's positive. Some of the folks that we talk about the best in the world, they are positive. Some of the people that claim to be the best in the world could be having a negative impact on the world. Sometimes the same person can have both of them. And you've watched in the eyes of the media in the world as somebody who rises up in one way and said, oh, they're the greatest ever, and all of a sudden to fall. And oh, they're the worst ever. And based upon their actions, they're having a positive or negative impact on that. What I'm always referencing, though, is it always seems to be about them. The news that's coming out is about them and not so much about the world around them and the impact that they're having on that world around them. So I'm going to propose the question, how can you be the best for the world? As opposed to being the best in it, how about being the best for it? What are the things that you can do every single day that you can have an impact on doing to improve the world around you? To make the lives and the relationships that you come in contact with on a daily basis better. Some of the speakers that went before me, they're brilliant. They were amazing. I was just sitting out there in the crowd going, oh my gosh, these are incredible students and staff that are speaking to us. All seem to have that same direction, talking about the impact they want to have in that world. And I'm asking you, what are the things that you're ready to do right now to have an impact in a positive way in the world around us here as we look at this? Let's talk about what it starts with relationships. Every relationship, every day. Have you ever heard the phrase, first impressions count? My phrase is, every impression counts. Yes, the first one does, just like the second one does, and just like the third one does. Every single time you have a relationship, even a person you know, you see them each day, it's how you are to that person on a daily basis measures the impact you're going to have in their lives. So always remember, it comes down to impact, and it comes down to starting with relationships in that way. What separates you from the skill set that you have, the knowledge that you have, is your ability to work with others. Believe me, I've pushed all my chips on making sure that you guys had the best education there was out there, and the best technology in your room and all. I worked hard. I can remember sitting down in President's office 7 years ago, sitting down with the president of Cal State San Bernardino and drafting out the guaranteed admission so everybody in our district would be guaranteed to go to Cal State San Bernardino. And then the very next one that comes along, and I follow up with Cal Poly, and then Cal State Bakersfield, and then the University of Laverne. I wanted you guys to have as many choices and opportunities that you have. But it's not just your education that's going to make a difference and an impact in the world. It's who you are and how you deal with people on a daily basis. It comes down to your ability to collaborate and work with people each day. That you might have the right skill set through your knowledge and education to get into the world you want, but to advance in that world, it comes down to how do I interact with the people around me? How do I show them that I care about them and I care about what we're doing together, and how will they see me? And that impact happens in an opportunity to do it every single day. Every situation that you're in, you're going to learn from. When you walk into a classroom each day, you're confronted with the idea of working with this teacher. Every one of your teachers, do you love every one of them? Maybe you do. That would be fabulous. But sometimes you might come across a teacher that you don't interact with well. But every situation you can grow and learn from. You can gain something from each of those experiences. If you're thinking about, this is something that I really like about this person, you can also say, this is something that I don't ever want to do. The way they're interacting with that, I don't want to do that. But you're gaining something from each of those relationships. You don't point it out. You're not here to shine the light and be the person who points out truth to folks. You're learning from the inside so that you can gain from that and make sure that the cards that you have in your hand are all the cards you want to play, so that when you get into the positions and you get in the opportunities and choices, you can make a difference. And you can do it each day by the simple things that you say to one another. Are you encouraging? Are you empowering? Are you a person who looks for the negative in people, or a person who looks for the positive? And when somebody does something really great, do you take the time to step forward and say something about it? Those empowering words can change lives. And sometimes you don't even know that they're changing lives when they do. I would tell you that because in the idea that every conversation counts, I had the opportunity to work as a leader of this district for a long time. Recently, when I retired, when you get old and retire, people are very nice to you, and they say wonderful things to you when you retire. I think sometimes it's just because this is their last time to get a chance to talk to you, and they want to leave you with something kind. But I remember specifically a teacher at another school in our district. And this teacher is highly recognized, has just recently been in Washington, D.C., getting recognized for an amazing program. But she said something to me. She said, you were teaching at a workshop that I went to about 6 years ago. And the things that you taught, and I watched you around the room and working with it, it changed the perspective I had about working with other staff members. I watched what you did, and I did things differently based upon what I saw. And I have to tell you that a lot of the things that have happened to me recently, I can attribute to the things that you taught me that day. And that was the only time she had ever said that to me. I never knew that that had taken place. But it happened in one day, in one conversation, and it had an impact in her life. Now, I'm not telling you that you can go, oh gosh, what a great guy this is. I'm telling you, you don't know when you're having an impact in the lives of the people around you. You don't know which things people are hearing and seeing. They don't always come up afterwards and go, that was a good one. They may simply just store those things, and it might be a difficult time in their life. They could be struggling with something, and you said something to them, you encouraged them, you empowered them, you made a difference in their life that day, and it changed for them. Now, I want to tell you, there's no way of knowing each day who those folks are that you're going to have an impact in their life. You could be sitting right next to someone right now, and that person could be a big part of your life in the future, and you don't even know it right now. You don't know that because it hasn't been based upon the strength of a relationship yet. I can see the friends looking at each other right now going, yes, I know it's you. But I'm talking about those interactions that you're going to have, yes, in this room, but how about on Monday when you're back in class? How about tomorrow? If there's Easter services, you decide you're going to go to something with your family, some kind of a service, and you meet people. What are the interactions, what are those opportunities that you have to make a difference in those people's lives? I tell you this because you never know when the big one is coming. I want you to think for a second in your own life right now about decisions that you made, or at least were maybe a part of it, your family made, that had an impact on something that happened in your life and it changed from that point. A decision maybe about a move, about a friendship, about something that was going on, where you made a decision and it changed something you did. At the time when you make that decision, there's no big flashing light that says, this is a big choice, be careful. You simply have to take each decision as to what's the very best thing I can do right now. And those decisions are, to me, I like to kind of relate them to a crossroad. You're going to come to a lot of crossroads, and you have to make a decision about which way you're going to go. And I think there's supposed to be a picture in the middle there. There it is, yeah. And there's a crossroad that you've got to decide. Now, some of the crossroads, I was traveling from South Carolina to North Carolina to Virginia to West Virginia to Pennsylvania to Delaware to Maryland, and sometimes we're coming to crossroads that look like that. Do you see the road sign? Can you tell which way to go? You can't. So you have to go based upon what's the very best thing you know at that time. The decisions that make in your life, sometimes the very biggest ones, are just as simple as choosing to go right rather than choosing to go left. I was in high school. I was doing well in school. I had lots of choices and opportunities. I had a choice to go into the military, into an academy when I was coming out of high school, and I turned that down. I had a full ride scholarship to go to a college, and I ended up not accepting that. There were choices that happened in my life. Now, sometimes you can look back and go, God, what an idiot. You should have chose that. That sounds really good. But I have to tell you, I'm the luckiest person in the world for the choices that I made, because it got me to the best place I can possibly be in. To have a life with 4 kids who are amazing. My youngest daughter graduates in 2 months from college. She just directed her first movie. Things are going great for her. My son's a teacher in the district. I told you about my other daughter. And they actually like me. My kids actually like me. I mean, I'm the luckiest guy ever. But all those choices that happen come by one decision at a time. And sometimes you can't tell a crossroads till you've passed it and you look back at it and you go, that was a big choice. If I hadn't chosen that, I wouldn't be here today. And even though my years are much more extended than yours, I know you can think back about those. Every choice matters, and having an impact in this world is huge. What kind of impact you can have doesn't have to be worldwide. An impact can be as simple as having an impact on one person. Recently back east, there was the Atlantic Ocean there. I got out, and I out on the Atlantic, and it reminded me of a story that I really wanted to share with you guys, because it's talking about having an impact. The story goes that a guy comes out on the beach in the morning early, and much like the beaches you see, he suddenly sees all these bumps over it. The closer he gets, he realizes that there are literally thousands upon thousands of starfish that are all along the shore. The pounding surf has kind of washed them and pushed them and driven them up on the shore. And he's just walking around looking at it, and the water is kind of, the tide has gone back out, and they're stuck. They're stranded, and they're dying. Tens of thousands laying upon the shore. He looks down the beach a little bit, and he notices a little girl. And he kind of starts walking closer to her, and the closer he gets to her, he can see what she's doing, and she's reaching down and picking up the starfish, and tossing them into the water. The guy gets close enough to her, and he says, "Do you really think you're making a difference?" And she picks up the starfish, and she looks at him and throws it into the water and says, "I made a difference for that one." I wanted you to think about, what kind of differences are you having on even just one person, on one single person? What are the things that you share? What are the relationships you have? What are the words that come out of your mouth to encourage, empower, to give people hope? You make a difference each day. Those kind of decisions will help you as you come to your crossroads. But you never know when that one starfish you pick up and save is going to be even important in your life. Thank you so much for letting me speak to you today. It's really been a pleasure.